I have my own thoughts, but because they are my own thoughts, I don't want to give them ideas. So I'm going to hold on to my thoughts and watch how this shakes out.
Yeah,
I have my own thoughts about how this is going to shake out. And as I said, I don't want to give the other side the power over what I'm thinking. So I guess the question is, with all that's going on, do we think that Paramount maybe bowed to political pressure, or was it just business, or is it a little suspect that the timing? I mean, or is it all of those things?
I think two things can be true at once. You cannot ignore the politics of the moment, that this is a president who's made clear how he feels about certain people in the media, and there's this multi-billion dollar, $8 billion merger that's pending that the government can weigh in on. And then you also have to look at the economics of the television industry. The fact that shows as iconic as The Late Show have a fraction of the viewership that they had even 20 years ago. This report was that he was losing about $40 million a year while commanding Colbert a salary of $20 million.
Yeah.
But my question is
Even
this.
Trump's casino doesn't lose that much.
My question is this.
So here's how it started. Stephen Colbert, who used to rule late night TV, had his show shut down after years of mixing jokes with politics and turning it into a daily lecture. And no, it wasn't some big plot or censorship thing. The real reason was simple and kinda sad. His show was losing about $40 million every year, and instead of just accepting that, Sonny Hostin and the View Squad went into full meltdown mode, acting like democracy itself was under attack. Like, girl, it's just a show ending, not the end of the world.
I think that we don't know if it's purely financial. I mean, if you look at some of the numbers, it could be financial. And I don't know that it's purely political. It could be. But my concern is, if it is political, then everyone should be concerned. People on the right should be concerned. People on the left should be concerned, because it's very clear that if it is political, this is the dismantling of our democracy. This is the dismantling of our Constitution, right? And so the First Amendment is the First Amendment for a reason, and that is freedom of the press, freedom of speech, freedom to speak truth to power. If that is taken away, if the comedians are being attacked, then that means our Constitution is being dismantled.
That's right.
Things got real messy on live TV when chaos broke out right in front of the cameras, and the ladies on The View couldn't hide their nerves anymore, being one of the few shows still stuck on old school politics. They were clearly shaken by Colbert's fall, and instead of facing the obvious, they went into full spin mode, tossing out all kinds of stories like maybe this was some big political move, maybe freedom of the press was under attack, or maybe the truth is, it was just a money mess, plain and simple.
That means the very rubric of our democracy is being dismantled. And I think every single person should be really, really concerned about it. I'm thrilled that Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren, Senator Bernie Sanders is asking Skydance, is asking for answers whether or not this was political. The Writers Guild is actually asking the Attorney General to look into this situation to find out if it was political. And if we find out it is political, what are we going to do as a country? We must protect our Constitution, and we must protect our democracy. I think this is bigger than just the cancellation of a television
I think it's
show.
great they're asking.
Okay, real quick before we go any deeper, make sure you tap that like button and hit subscribe to Jacob Reports. It seriously helps us keep bringing you all the wildest, most unbelievable stories out there. All right, back to the drama.
Linear TV is going to be a niche option in 2029. That's not that far off right now. So as you watch the ad revenue, it dropped.
What do you call it? Linear TV?
Linear TV.
Is that what we're on?
Yes.
But we're also we're on streaming, Hulu, and Disney+.
That's why I'm saying I got nothing to hide here, guys. In 2018, advertising has dropped by 40% since 2018 as ad revenue moves to digital content and non-traditional media.
So while the whole set was buzzing and everyone was losing it, it became super obvious. This wasn't really about Stephen Colbert anymore. This was bigger. This was about what happens when the media world that thinks it's invincible finally starts crashing down, and when all those TV stars who used to feel untouchable start realizing people just aren't tuning in like they used to. And while the View crew was still freaking out and throwing around wild takes, there was one person who actually kept it cool, Alyssa Farah Griffin. She didn't show up with waterworks or some over-the-top drama. She just kept it straight and dropped the truth in the simplest way possible.
The difference here is corporate media overlords that have other interests. And that's why new independent media is one of the rising places that people consume content, because you don't have people making those
just
decisions.
add something about the money, the numbers here, because we're talking about the $40 million, and a lot of people are reporting that it was the advertising revenues went down. But if you look at the estimates from 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐜𝐸𝐸𝐸, late night broadcast TV shows took in $150 million over the 12-month period from July 21st, 24 to July 20th, 2025. That is up 6%. Up 6%,
Not if the show costs
not
more
down.
than that.
And so
Well, but
the
let's-
Late Show with Stephen Colbert was also estimated to have earned $59.9 million in ad revenue. It is down 2% year over year, but it's still almost $60 million. And so
Alyssa didn't sugarcoat a thing. She just laid it out, saying when a show loses $40 million a year, it doesn't matter who's hosting. The network's gonna pull the plug. And that's exactly what happened with The Late Show. But then out of nowhere, Joy Behar tried to crack a joke, saying even Trump's casinos didn't lose that much. And the second those words came out, you could feel the mood shift. Like she instantly knew she just made Colbert look even worse instead of helping. And the truth is, Alyssa wasn't being harsh. She was just saying what everyone was thinking. Colbert was getting $20 million a year while barely pulling in viewers. And with over 200 staff, the whole thing was a money mess. But instead of admitting that the panel tried to twist it into some big dramatic story like something deeper was going on, when really it was just business going bad, that's when Sunny Hostin jumped back in and went full drama mode, saying maybe The Late Show wasn't canceled for money. Maybe it was political, and if that's true, she claimed we're watching democracy fall apart. Like she really said that on live TV. Sunny didn't hold back and started acting like canceling Colbert was some kind of attack on free speech. She threw around words like freedom of the press and truth to power, like he got jailed or something, when really the show just lost too much money. The craziest part is Sunny was completely serious. She truly thought Colbert's cancellation was some big political move to silence Trump critics. Instead of just saying the show flopped, she turned it into a free speech crisis, like Colbert was some hero being taken down by dark forces. Sunny wasn't letting it go. She pushed her rant even harder, saying this wasn't just about a TV show anymore, it was about democracy falling apart. She started name-dropping Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, and even said the Writers Guild asked the Attorney General to investigate, like canceling Colbert's low-rated show was some giant scandal, and she kept acting like everyone in America should be panicking over it. Sunny acted like canceling Colbert was some huge threat to the country, like he was a national treasure being silenced. But the truth she ignored was simple. No one was watching, and when a show loses money, it's over. That's just business. Sunny and her crew really think the whole country agrees with them, like every Trump joke is gold and every rant is a mic drop. So when the ratings drop, they blame a conspiracy, not themselves. They can't see that people are just over it. They don't want politics every night. They just want something fun and light, and maybe that's why viewers stop showing up. Instead of facing the truth, they scream censorship and fascism, and Sunny leads the way, acting like every loss is the end of democracy, from immigration rules to a canceled talk show. She turns everything into a crisis, always dramatic, never admitting they might just be wrong. In their world, they can never be wrong, so they blame others, spin wild theories, and shout like everything's falling apart when really folks have just moved on and found better things to watch. Just when Sunny thought she had the upper hand, Sarah Haynes finally stepped in, calm and clear and way more grounded than the rest. She cut through the noise and reminded everyone that regular TV is fading fast. She said, by 2029, old school cable would still exist, but barely, and it's not some wild theory, it's just how tech and viewers have changed. She even pointed out how ad money has dropped 40% since 2018 because people have moved on and the future is all about watching online. When Sarah casually mentioned linear TV, the vibe in the room shifted and Sunny looked totally lost. She even had to ask what that meant. And right there it became clear the loudest one in the room had no clue what she was really talking about. Like, how can you sound the alarm on something you don't even understand? While everyone else was starting to get the picture, Sunny stayed stuck in her own world, and even though Sarah explained this was just about business, not politics, how TV and viewers have moved on, Sunny refused to accept it. She kept holding on to her theory that some secret conservative force was behind it all, and to prove her point, point. She suddenly brought up numbers thinking that would finally shut everyone up. Then Sunny tried to sound smart by throwing out ad revenue numbers saying late night shows made around 150 million and bragging that Colbert's show brought in nearly 60 million of that. And to her, that meant the show was totally fine, but what she didn't realize, or maybe just ignored, was the one thing that actually mattered, and she missed it completely. What Sunny didn't seem to get is that revenue isn't the same as profit. Just because a show brings in 60 million doesn't mean it's doing great. If the show costs 100 million to make, you're still down 40 million. That's not winning. That's a total flop, and the rest of the panel just stared at her like she had no clue, and honestly it showed she was arguing numbers without even understanding what they meant. Sunny kept steering the ship straight into chaos, thinking ad money meant everything while ignoring the huge costs of paying over 200 people just to repeat the same tired political jokes every night. That moment didn't just show confusion, it showed why old school media is crumbling and why people are ditching it for something real. And just when you thought she'd stop, she made it even worse, jumping into another speech trying to sound deep, claiming the show couldn't be failing if it made 60 million, and then throwing out some 6% ad growth stat like that magically fixed the fact that Colbert's show was losing money like crazy. Everyone watching from home could feel the secondhand embarrassment. The woman who always talks about how smart and educated she is was right there on live TV showing she didn't understand something as simple as revenue versus profit. It's like saying you made $500 selling cupcakes but spent $1,000 on ingredients no matter what comes in. If more is going out, you're still losing, and that's the part she just couldn't seem to grasp. Sunny really thought she was making a strong case just by throwing out random numbers like that would prove her point. But anyone with basic sense could tell she wasn't defending Colbert, she was just trying to protect herself. This wasn't about him anymore. It was her trying to brace for when the same thing happens to her. Deep down, Sunny knows the truth, even if she won't say it. She sees old TV fading, people tuning out, and outrage comedy failing. And worst of all, her time on The View might be ending. Not from politics, but because the show is losing its place. So she makes up these big scary stories about democracy falling and evil rising just to avoid facing the real truth. Maybe they just aren't fun to watch, and no one stopped Sunny while she ranted. The world moved on to YouTube and podcasts, and Sunny knows that, so she talks louder and makes it all seem bigger than it is. Sunny can't handle that. Her time might end. Not with a bang, but with a quiet no thanks from the network, and this gap between her fantasy numbers and reality is why old media is falling apart while she clings to old ways. The world moved on, and Alyssa pointed out something Sunny didn't want to hear. Legacy media can't keep up with indie creators, changing viewers, and a big expensive political show. People want real stuff now. No more fake corporate cool. They want honest, messy, and raw. People these days prefer watching independent creators who say what they want without big budgets or fancy studios, but Sunny refuses to accept that. She thinks if her show ends, it's not because viewers left or sponsors walked out, but some Trump plan to silence her. That's just her way of hiding from reality because she knows the audience is shrinking and her excuses won't hold up. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐜𝐿 Reports, hit the like button, and drop your comments below. See you soon.